All right. So first of all, I'm using a new laptop. I got another laptop. However, the Ethernet on it is different. So that's number one. uh, Number two, if you don't like these videos, then what they're about is right there in the title. So don't watch. Number three, there's been some complaints to the videos breaking up. I think I've got it solved on my end. However, MK is in a hotel and he's using the hotel Wi-Fi and the signal there, which apparently isn't the best in the world. So let's skip around a little bit. But the reason he is in a hotel is because his wife took a job to help fight this coronavirus. So any complaints about that, then I don't know, maybe you might want to look at yourself a little bit. So with that being said, here's another MK Davis video with on the Bluff Creek. Share audio, share.
Hey, it's me. I hope you're having a wonderful day. You might notice my red face. I haven't been drinking. I've just been out in the sunshine. They say that's the best disinfectant. Well, I got me a little heavy dose of it yesterday. I hope you're doing well in this age of corona. This morning I went to Walmart. I got there a little early, 6:55. It opened at 7. There was a line of people there. I was standing in line, wearing a mask, trying to keep my distance. But you know, you move forward on one person, you move away from another person, unless you're on the end of the line. And this guy said, "You're you're over the line. You're over the line." And I looked down, and Walmart had painted little blue lines every 6 feet apart. Hold on here. And I had gone over the line. And for the first time, this guy, incidentally, I don't know where he was from. He had an accent like I never heard before. I assumed that he wasn't here. But he had appointed himself as the police, the line police, position police. And for the first time ever since this whole thing started, I became uneasy. Because it became clear to me that while the virus is something to fear, paranoia is everything to fear. So I politely gave him 12 feet and I went home. Try it again some other time. Now, back to what I'm meaning to talk about today, the Patterson film. A question was brought up about Bill Munns and did he work with the original Patterson film when he went to see Miss Patterson? He didn't go see her. He was part of a show. You know, they paid her. Let's turn this thing around. All right, hold on just a second. This is Bill Munns' photos that he took. And I got confused because he had 352 up here. but it's not 352. He's renumbered them. There's the number that it is, and he changed it to 352 because he thought he could. His counting of that version of the film was the only thing that mattered, not the others. It didn't occur to him that that film he was working with had a few frames removed. Obviously, it's not the original. And she told me she did not have the original. And it shows. It shows that it's not the original. That's the original. She told me that was the original. That's from the transparency. And it turns out that 352 is not even 352. Take a look at this. Look at this black area right here beside her head. I'm in a different position, so I have to stretch across there. That right there is in the background. Look at it over here. 352 is actually over here. So even I was confused by his numbering. Hold it just a second. There we go. There we go. This is 352. See, there's your background. And there's your background. That's how good 352 is on Miss Patterson's version. And that's how good it is on that transparency. This is from a film strip. This is from a transparency taken off the original. So I hope I answered the question. Did Bill Munns work with the original? No, he did not. And he certainly don't have a right to renumber the frames. By renumbering the frames, he's throwing all the other copies off that might have had extra frames in them. He hasn't seen everything that there is to see, although he thinks he has. That betrays a little bit of cockiness on his part. But regardless of that, I'm gonna come over here and I gotta move around a little bit to maneuver my images. All right, we're going to kind of jump over to another subject. Hold on here. This is a letter. I'm really having to stretch. It's uncomfortable. Hold on. This is a letter to John Green from Bob Gimlin and Renee DeHinden. Dear Mr. Green, this is to advise you that the contract dated January the 8th, 1968, a copy of which is attached, is hereby canceled. In addition, any and all verbal and implied agreements between yourself and Robert Gimlin and or Renee DeHinden concerning the Bigfoot film is hereby canceled. In addition, we request that you return all copies of the Bigfoot film that are now in your possession. You're further put upon notice that if copies of the Bigfoot film are ever again shown in public or private, that a showing fee of $500 will be required paid to Gimlin DeHinden or damages assessed. In addition, if you have left copies of the film with any persons, corporations, or other agencies, would you please provide us with their name, addresses, and telephone numbers so that they may be contacted? It is our understanding that you have left 2 copies of the film in San Francisco for analysis, so we demand that you obtain and return both copies to us immediately. The cancellation of all contracts and agreements is effective this date. Let's just see. Hold on here. Gimlin and DeHenden. Okay. That's dated August 13th, 1976. So you got Renee DeHenden, and Robert Gimlin demanding all copies of the film be turned over to them. This was after their fraudulent copyright. No, actually, it's before. It wasn't even copyrighted. 76. It was, I think I showed you the copyright paperwork. It was 78 that they got it copyrighted. So, but it is after Roger Patterson passed away. So you got Renee DeHenden, a Canadian who claims to have no connection to the film. And you got Robert Gimlin, who claims he did not use the camera, demanding that all copies be turned over to them. What they're doing is getting them back in, getting control so that no one will have anything to work with. Unsuccessful. Green didn't turn anything over to them. And later on, this is 2003, after Renee DeHenden passes away, Bob jumps over to John as a friend. When DeHenden passes away, remember DeHenden had him sign a piece of paper saying that he wouldn't show it or speak about it to any more than 10 people. This was the very next conference. And this is the guy they demanded turn over his copies of the film, anything he had. So now they're together. That's 2003. No one had even seen Bob Gimlin for 30-something years until DeHenden died. Now, let's see here. Let's go to this one. This right here, this guy in the red, is Bob Hieronymus. He claimed to be the man in the suit in the Patterson film. And he had this man who claimed that he made the suit. And they rebuilt the suit, and he got dressed back up in it, and that's what it is right there. You see, it's not too spiffy. But Bob Hieronymus is way, way more than just someone claiming to be the man in the suit. He's Bob Gimlin's neighbor and lifelong friend. And as far as I know, still is. When I went to speak with Bob the afternoon that I spoke with Patricia Patterson in the morning. When I went to go speak with Bob, it was a restaurant there in Yakima, and he said Bob Hieronymus he's held. So we had to be mum about that, which I had no intentions of mentioning his name anyway. Yeah, they're neighbors. Okay, does that mean that Bob Hieronymus aided Robert Gimlin in hoaxing a Bigfoot film? No, it doesn't. Bob Hieronymus made the statement. He made the statement in an interview that he walked across that white sandbar, and there's no white sand anywhere down there. And I knew he had never been there, and that the whole story was a concoction. Because if you look into the matter, this is Patterson and Gimlin right here. It's a movie marquee, and that's that same box you see on a horse in the Patterson film. In that leader, not in the actual creature. Gimlin's wearing a wig, and Patterson has written a script, and they're going to make a movie, and everybody's going to make money. Gimlin's playing the part of an Indian scout. This is all the cast members lined up. They got in between two trees. See the two trees there? That's Roger Patterson. I believe this is Howard Hieronymus, and this is Bob Hieronymus in their younger days. Bob Hieronymus, the same one I just showed you, claiming to be the man in the suit. Bob Gimlin. And I think this is Jerry Merritt right here, I believe. And I don't know who this young man is. He shows up in some more pictures. They're all going to be in the movie about the Bigfoot. It's a Bigfoot movie. Until fate intervened. It was going to be a docudrama. In other words, it was going to have some real stuff in it and some dramatic reenactments and things like that. And that's why he left word with Al Hodson that if tracks showed back up at Bluff Creek, let me know. I want to come down there and get film. There had not been any sign of anything going on at Bluff Creek since 1964 when they had that big 500-year flood. So this was the first time that anything had showed up at Bluff Creek in that number of few short years. So when Green left from down there, Al Hodson gave Roger a call. He says, well, I didn't want to call him down there on Green. So when Green left, I gave Roger a call. I said, well, they've cleared out of the area now. You can come on down. He says, I'll be right on down. And then he didn't know that, Al didn't know that Green had gotten a phone call from out of the bed of the creek, and he said, what you're looking for is here. And he rechartered a plane, got the tracking dog and got the dog handler and Renee DeHenden, and they flew back down there the next day. And this Al did not know. So Al ends up inadvertently calling Roger on top of him anyway, or them on top of Roger, depending on who made it down there first. That's the history of the filming. They get a live Bigfoot on film. They dropped all plans for the movie. And Roger went to, once he realized what he had on film, that it was as good as it was, that he began to distribute the film to theaters and show that, and go there and do live presentations. And so that it completely changed directions, what he wanted to do, what his plans were. Gimlin wanted nothing to do with the film, and I'm quoting Mrs. Patterson. He said he did not want his name even associated with the film in any way, shape, form, or fashion. That's what she told me when they came out of the woods. That was what his wishes were, to not be associated with it. So Roger had to hire a person to play the part of Gimlin when they did their presentations. Gimlin, after finding out that Roger did not go to jail for whatever they did down there, but instead made money, he became very indignant and angry and bitter against Roger. But they had party companies. They never went out again. Not together. So that's kind of a little synopsis of the circumstances surrounding the film. And eventually, Roger sold that script to A&E Enterprises, American National Enterprises. And a guy named Ron Olson made the movie. I think they call it The Legend of Bigfoot or something like that. It's kind of a famous cult status film, but it's originally Roger Patterson's script. They had another guy that looked exactly like Bob Gimlin in a wig. Had another guy. You can find that film. It's out there. I got a copy of it. I'm just not at home where I could quote the title of it. I'm not a Bigfoot film aficionado, but I pay attention to anything that has anything to do with the Bigfoot film, the Patterson Bigfoot film. So there's the movie cast right there. They take for their official picture. Jerry Merritt wanted nothing to do with the filming either, and that's why I think he was down there. They can kind of cooked up a little story where his wife wouldn't let him go, so he wasn't there. So from movie marquee, official cast photos, Bob Hieronymus, Howard Hieronymus, Jerry Merritt, I don't know who that is, Roger Patterson, Bob Gimlin, to a real Bigfoot movie. How do you like that? You know, if people were on the up and up, if they were on the up and up, they would have nothing to fear from anyone like me. Because I've already gone on record as stating that the film is authentic and what's on that film is authentic. But it's surrounded with so much fluff that you have to dig it out. It takes a long time. So Bob has kind of, over the years, kind of used his influence, and I say over the years, since 2003. He's kind of how do you say, I hate to say a cult following, but it's kind of what it is. And thuggish. They want to punish you for just inquiring. Let's see here. Let's see if I can. It's over here. Another try here. All right. There's me and Bob. We go way back. This is from quite a while ago, many years ago. It's when, as long as someone's asking favorable questions, Bob's okay. But they began kind of a discreditation thing, where so much good things with the film early on, but now he's just lost his mind and he's asking questions. And no, I haven't lost my mind. I'm the same fella that in the early days. Nothing's changed about or my. Hold on here. Let's see, open. There we go. There I am giving a presentation there. I think it was in Texas. That's my poster. Back in the. There we are. That's a little information, a quote from Roger about the dogs that they brought in from Canada. Oops. Not supposed to be showing that one. Well, it seems like, what's in it for me? Nothing. Nothing other than a desire for the truth, a desire to know all the circumstances surrounding that film. And the more you look, the more you find out. And the more you find out, the more you realize that it was a cauldron of cooked up stuff. And it disturbs me to no end after having met Mrs. Patterson, really nice lady who's raised her kids without a husband, had half of her income taken away by the dirty dealings. And I got Canadian film, and it's an American film. Really don't care too much for that. I mean, I love Canadians and I've lots of Canadian friends, but this isn't their film. They can go take their own film. Just coming on a blog and trying to discredit me. And you live way the heck up there, about as far away from me as you can get. You don't know. No one asked me any questions in that blog. I was very surprised to find out that I had a second massacre theory, which I didn't even know I had that one. As a matter of fact, I didn't know I even had the first one, because I really don't know what the meaning of massacre is. At what point does it become that? I've always maintained that there's nobody missing. Nobody missing. And when you pressure Bob, he always falls back on that he's being picked on. A question, a legitimate question, is picking on Bob and bullying Bob. And if you keep on anyway, he'll start to say, and he's done it many times in the past, it's bothering his wife. It's hurting Judy. But I'll tell you, that picture of Bob at that conference with that woman that you just saw for a second or two, that hurts Judy. Not not me asking him questions. So that's the kind of thing that conferences have been turned into. Thanks to Bob. But I'm not his judge. I'm not his judge on anything. I'm not his judge on his behavior. I'm not his judge the fact that he stole lumber when he was a younger guy. I'm not his judge on any of that. I'm just interested in the facts surrounding this film because I want to know what's on it and what we share the planet with. And so that's my diatribe for today. Hope you folks are doing well. And I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to try to take care of some business. You guys have a great day. And, don't be judgmental. You know what's right and wrong. You don't have to waffle back and forth on that, but ultimately we answer to a higher power. So just you have been informed. Have a great day.
So there we go. He's got a couple different videos. I might try to do another one here in a little bit. It's very interesting. I want to say that I'm not totally convinced of all this, and there's a lot of side trails on this story that I've got questions about. However, I've asked a lot of questions of MK, and he's giving me the answers. So there's that. Ultimately, yeah, that's in the works, Collins. Pay attention, bub. That's in the works. So it's either going to be maybe on DDoS's channel or maybe Carrie's channel. I know what's his name, Steve, the squash detective, is he's volunteered for it, but I would rather have Bob and MK hash this out. They've talked to each other before, so it didn't go so well. All I'm after is the truth in all aspects of my life. There's a lot of questions I have about this film. No one's attacking Bob. Actually, I pray for Bob. All right. If something else did happen, then that's a heck of a burden to carry on your shoulders. And I can only imagine, if it's true, what the man is going through. There's other victims in this. Mrs. Patterson being one. So Vicky's got a good point here. There's that. Whenever you have to resort to ad hominems, then that's just not very good. All right. That means you're losing the argument. So there's that. The group that doesn't agree with MK is the same group that are sticking by the main story. The main story that everybody knows. Two happy cowboys rode out and just stumbled upon a booger what don't act right and got it on film. The story falls apart because on that film there's evidence that it wasn't took in October. All right, there's short shadows there. Short shadows do not exist in October here in the northern hemisphere. Plus, like I said, there's all kinds of little side trails down this and all kinds of things that just don't add up. So, I mean, I'm just putting out MK's side. He put it out years back, and it's really not MK's side. This is not MK's theory, but he's put a lot of together, searched down a lot of details, interviewed a lot of people that were there, claim that they were there. So we'll see. I want to see it. I want to see MK and Bob talk it out. Not argue about it. Talk it out. Let explain to us why we have these questions about the film. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, both sides definitely. I'm interested in getting down to what the truth was. I'm interested. If there's more video out there, I'm definitely interested in that. Because say what you want, but the Patterson film is the best video. Once it got stabilized, and MK did a lot of work on stabilizing it and making it a better film. And in doing so is how he found some of this stuff that got him down this little rabbit hole. Bobby Short is another investigator. She was on this before MK was. MK got a lot of his resources from her. She is passed now. Some say poison. I really don't know. That's another rabbit hole to go down. But right now, where my mind's at, the story it just doesn't add up. There's something else to it. I think I think there was a lot of big money involved, a government involved, and threats probably being made. Some very serious threats probably being made. So there's a lot of information, and I think it's a good thing. You know, people. Let me say this first of all: if there is somebody that's threatening Bob or threatening MK, you're a low life. You are low. That's not how to handle this. All right, we want the truth. Now there might be a very reasonable explanation to some of these things, and I would like to hear them, but I haven't heard them yet. Like the red hole, I remember Bob saying that that was maple leaves in that hole. All right, he didn't even deny that it was red. False color was added to the film, and I know people say that MK's changed the colors and stuff, but he's got close to original copies on this that hasn't been altered. So why would they even put out an altered film? Number one, why would he sell for $10 to Renee DeHenden? Number two, I mean, there's a lot of questions, and I would just like to hear some explanations to these questions. And if the story isn't true and something else did happen, and it was admitted to it by certain individuals, I think we should be forgiving. I think we should pray for this individual. It really was a poisoned tomato. That little tomato tomatoes poisoned their bad or something like that. It's a different rabbit hole. I really don't know much about it, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot on it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know a whole lot of information on it, so there's that. Anyway, let me poke around on the Facebook a little bit and see what else he's got up. A lot of them I haven't had time to watch. We've had an absolutely beautiful, beautiful weekend here in Eastern Kentucky, and I've been out playing, getting a lot of chores done. Y'all ain't got no Mexico, Matt. Huh. I hope we do know the truth. And you know, you might be right. Scott Carpenter, he was a ask Scott Carpenter about Bobby Short. That's where you're going to find your information. They were good buddies. Or ask MK about it. They were good. They were good buddies. But there's been more people than just her in on this. That 411 dude did a lot of work on this, and people before this theory's been around a while. It's been around a while, and there were people talking about it after whenever they first showed the film, which is another thing. That type of film took weeks to develop, and they had it done in a weekend, and that included mailing it off. And everybody knows how the United States Postal Service operates. They're about as good as the Pony Express. So there's that. There's just a lot of questions. I got a lot of questions. Anyways, I just want to know the truth to all this, and that's all. Everybody, if I don't come back tonight, then I'll do another one tomorrow. So if I don't see you tonight, everybody have a good rest of the weekend, and God bless.